So, my mum wanted a greenhouse, and rather than buy one or get one second hand off of Marketplace, we decided to build one from stuff we'd saved from a skip. So I started out by digging a foot in 2.7 by 2.1 and concreting that in, but I didn't show any of that because it's boring just sticking a shovel in the ground. And this is me laying a few bricks here. Not the best because I'm not a bricklayer, but I got the hang of it by the time I'd got to the 6th course, so I'm pretty confident laying a few now, but I've picked up a few more tips since then, so next time it should be a little bit easier. Here's a little time lapse of me laying a few bricks. I had to speed it up because it takes me ages to lay them in real time, but all of these reds we had laying around on a pallet, they were all free. The concrete and everything we used for the foundation was also free because my brother's actually a landscaper and he always has bags of concrete and sand left over, so yeah, so far it's cost nothing, just a little bit of time. And here I've got my little nephew Johnny helping.
Butter it up.
No, pull it up.
Gotta love our kids are just amused by the simple things.
Yeah, look at me. I made it like a poo.
Made it like a poo?
Yeah.
And this is probably going to be painful for any bricklayers watching, but it's for my mum and I was trying to keep the costs down, so rather than get someone in to come and do it, I just thought I'd do it myself. But it turned out alright. It's not the best looking, don't get me wrong, but and this was the finished result of the brickwork after I got to 6 courses. Then I let this dry for a few days and went round with a layer of muck embedded on a wall plate.
Did my old girl come to help? Didn't you? Good girl.
So on with the framing out. This is all old rafter material we got out of a skip. Someone had their roof redone. It's the old style timber, so it's 50mm thick and 100mm wide, as opposed to the 45mm and 95mm you get now. So I had to account for that when I was building the framework, because it's all determined to suit the glass that we got out of the skip as well. So the panels of glass turned out 610 by 1190, so you have to give a little bit on all of this framework just so your glass goes in easier. So all I'm doing here is getting a square frame built down this side to the height and width that I need, and once that's all in I'll start cutting the uprights in. It works out 3 uprights divided by the measurement of the glass will give you the 4 panels. The only thing I'd say about using a nail gun on these is it sometimes leaves them proud if you ain't set the depth deep enough, but if you get a nail punch on them and drive them right in, it won't interfere when it comes to putting your glass in, because the last thing you want is a bit of glass nicking one of those nails, because it'll shatter as soon as it goes in. Yeah, no, I just repeated the same process over on the other side. Virtually everything the same, apart from I didn't put the top plate on first this time, which actually made it a little bit easier. But, you know, it's trial and error. Cutting a couple of birds' beaks. So I found a centre point between both walls and then cut two rafters so they'd meet in the middle. Fixed them up making like a little bit of an A-frame. Done that both ends, and then that would allow me to run a ridge beam from end to end and cut the rest of the rafters in that way and tie the two walls together. But instead of carrying on with the roof, in classic gym fashion, I decided to start doing another job halfway through. So I started cutting some battens, which these were all free from their roofing centre. Just an old shipment of battens that they didn't have room in their yard for, so they said, do I want them? I think they gave me about 300 metres. All I did with the batten was flush it up with the frame at the back on the inside and put some 60mm nails into it, and then the glass will go on the outside up against this, and then there'll be another batten on the outside going round to hold in the glass, sort of sandwiching the glass in the middle. Once the battens were done either side, I went back onto the roof getting the ridge beam up from side to side so I could finish the rafters.
See this? British weather for you. It's house stoning. Check this out. Seeing this?
Instead of doing standard spacing between the rafters, I opened them up a bit so I didn't have to use as many, because I'm only having like a light polycarbonate guy on the roof. No one's going to be walking on it, and not a lot of weight, so it was unnecessary to put too many in, but just enough to give it some support through the middle bit. So yeah, I think it worked out for either side. I then put a collar on the frame at the front to give it some support, and that way it would give me a fixing point when I come to build the frame for the door. and then I put some collars throughout on the rest of the rafters.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
And then for the door frame, we actually used an old bit of decking board, and I made the threshold out of it as well because we couldn't find anything that was the same sort of dimensions as a door liner. So the decking board is roughly about the same thickness and width as a door liner, so we went with that and just flipped it over so the smooth side was in the inside of the frame. And yeah, that was after 2 days of building. It's looking good, getting there. And then I think the next job was to start getting on with the glass.
Back in the greenhouse, coming along nice. Bit cold today, so that's what you've got to do. Get rid of all the scrap wood and all. Lovely.
And the big boss has turned up, my little niece, Penelope. She'd have to come and check up on what's going on.
Is it fire? What is it? That's camera. Yeah, it's mine. Yeah. Put it down. There you go. Yeah, that's you. That's the lens.
Huh?
That's the lens. That's the button. That's the lens.
And after getting the telling off from the big boss for taking too long, I thought I'd better get my act together, so I started on the cladding at the front, just using this old chip that we had laying around up the horse stables. And here is the infamous glass. It had been laying in a pile around the back for ages, and there had been a thick layer of algae that had built up between each sheet, so I'd take them down to the house one by one and clean them off. Well, partly clean them. But yeah, this whole idea stemmed from those bits of glass, my mum seeing them and saying, we could build a greenhouse. So yeah, everything's been based around those pieces of glass. And what I did here was just put a layer of silicone around the inside of the batten and push the glass in up against the silicone. Try not to break it or drop it. Then put your battens in. They hold it tight for a minute so you can get some fixings into them. And then I just went round, working my way around, putting in each pane of glass, which was 6 in total, 4 on either side and 2 at the back, until all of those were installed. Then I took these logs which we used from, we cut an opening into the log cabin, and these were left over, so I thought we could use them because they're like a log lap in between both panels of glass at the back, close up that wall and give my mum somewhere to hang baskets and stuff like that, or whatever you do in a greenhouse. Onto the doors. We actually got 6 of these out of a skip about 2 or 3 years back now, and we've been sitting there waiting to see what we could use them on. And these two actually worked out, because they were a bit thinner, they worked out great. By the time they were sanded, I swung them. And then I also went and got this polycarbonate from Kaylee's Dag. Big up Derek. And also, I know that I'm installing these boards on the roof the wrong way, but they were nice and long and they went from front to back, leaving a little overhang, so I just went with it, and I'm going to put caravan tape along the joint and bitumen Bosch tape across the ridge. So yep, I know they're the wrong way round, but it is what it is. It was at this point I whacked my head on the rafter and cut it open. Knock some sense into your gym, boy, and with that, let's show you what she looks like.